Welcome to Special Investigations. Today's episode, The Billy Meyer Story, hosted by Jaime Maussan.
In this investigation, we will journey to Switzerland, to a quiet village outside Zurich, where resides the sole individual claiming to be in contact with intelligent aliens. Edward Billy Meyer, a Swiss man in his 80s, has maintained his claims of contact with a race from another galaxy for decades. Through these conversations, the Plejadians from planet Era provided Meyer with explanations of innumerable questions and phenomena. The visitors spoke to Meyer about the future, among them the possible extinction of humankind due to overpopulation, as well as the past, providing information on Jesus, Galileo, and Isaac Newton, which, according to Billy, are misrepresented by our history books in terms of their true identities and contributions. Edward Albert Meyer was born on February 3, 1937 in Bülach, Switzerland. His contact with extraterrestrial human entities began in the 1940s, when he was 5 years old, while standing next to his father behind his house near Mount Eschenmoser. He saw a silvery flash, which disappeared above the forest approximately 3 miles away. When he asked his father about the encounter, he replied that it was probably Hitler's latest secret weapon. From this moment onward, Billy constantly scoured the sky, where he observed moving stars at night, which were not airplanes. Meyer started hearing a voice from that point onward. At some point, this strange voice summoned him to the forest and ordered him to wait until a silver flying object landed on the ground before him. This was his initial contact, which, according to Billy, was followed by many others. An old man disembarked and addressed him in a friendly tone. He spoke a Swiss-German dialect native to his village. His name was Sfath, and he explained he came from an alien planet named Era in the Pleiades, 500 light-years away. The contact with Sfath ended in 1953, who prepared him for 11 years. Later, and also for 11 years, he maintained contact with a woman named Asket, who continued to educate him on numerous subjects. The next 11 years of his life, Edward spent traveling particularly in Europe, North Africa, the Middle East, and India. It was at this time, while in Iran, that he received the nickname Billy, given to him by an American woman, since Meyer used to wear jeans and a hat, like many characters of the so-called Old West. It was also during his travels, while in Turkey, that he lost his left arm due to a traffic accident. While in India, at a Buddhist monastery, he took some of his first photographs of extraterrestrial spacecraft and gave his first interview to a local newspaper. Back in Switzerland in 1975, he began his contact with Semjas, who allowed him to take the clearest photographs and films of flying discs in history and ordered him to publicly disclose his contact and create a worldwide controversy on the subject of extraterrestrial UFOs. The photographs and films captured by Meyer, with their unprecedented clarity, created a huge commotion in the 1970s. His home in Switzerland was visited by thousands of people seeking to talk to him and obtain a copy. These never-before-seen images of supposed spaceships created a worldwide phenomenon. It's been 50 years, almost 50 years, since you've had contact with the Pleiadians. At least since you made it known to the world. How do you feel about it?
I don't feel anything different than when I do my day job. I live day to day. But it's not just 50 years, as you say. Since my contact began shortly after I was born into this world. It was when I was 3 weeks old that the doctor said that I would not live the next morning. That is, I was close to dying. And then Sfath intervened and saw to it that I was still alive the next morning, despite what the doctor had said, that I would not live in the morning. That is to say, that it all started a little after I was born, and not just 50 years ago.
After the worldwide media coverage, skeptics quickly deemed the photographs and films as fake. He was contacted by filmmakers Britt and Lee Elders, who together with U.S. Colonel Wendell Stevens, took the material back to the United States for further analysis. These photographs and Super 8 films were analyzed by visual effects supervisor Wally Gentleman, an Oscar winner and known for the film 2001, A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick. Gentleman stated that to reproduce a single photograph, or any of the films like Meyer's, a large budget and technical knowledge would be required. A tough task for a one-handed Swiss farmer with limited resources. In his opinion, the material provided by Meyer, shot in different places and conditions, shows real objects. Billy provided a wide variety of evidence for analysis, such as recordings of the peculiar sound emitted by the spaceships. The audio files were analyzed in California by engineer Stephen Ambrose, creator of the in-ear sound system, who stated that even with the most sophisticated equipment of the time, reproducing them would be impossible, and was convinced of their authenticity. In addition, the Plejadians, a supposed extraterrestrial civilization, provided Meyer with samples of strange metals used to build their spaceships, and with silver so pure that IBM's scientific researcher and inventor Marcel Vogel concluded that the metals had characteristics impossible to reproduce with terrestrial technology. The wide variety of evidence Meyer has provided for analysis is only part of the story. Countless witnesses have come forward with detailed testimonies of what they have seen in the mountains of Switzerland for over half a century. Meyer recalls that during his early contact years, he had to drive with his moped for many miles before he would be telepathically led to a lonely forest clearing where the contact person normally was already waiting for him. Once in a while, he was permitted to bring along other people, but they always had to wait a distance of at least 500 yards from the site. He would often see the ships landing, departing, and occasionally energy flare demonstrations. Later on, he was rarely called to the forest for a contact. He started being transported directly into the ships, which meant that he would sometimes disappear among a group of people who accounted as witnesses. On other occasions, some group members observed the ships, their flight demonstrations, and even the extraterrestrials themselves. In 1975, you had an extraordinary case because you produced photographs, movies, you presented medals, sounds, and witnesses.
They didn't want to make people believe. That is, the human beings believe, but they don't know what is real. They wanted to spread the truth so that terrestrial human beings heard the truth and understood and lived the truth.
In 1982, Meyer suffered a stroke and his recuperation was only partial, losing his availability to speak other languages. During his illness, Meyer assures that he was visited by the Plejadians on several occasions. They would beam themselves into his office or wherever he stood outdoors. He sustains that the alleged visitors are neither allowed to reveal themselves, nor can they interfere in any manner, shape, or form with the events of the population on any planet, especially if they are still incapable of space travel. He was told that they are not allowed to openly and freely move about or reveal themselves to humanity. Meyer confirms that the only reason he can have contact with the alleged extraterrestrials is the fact that his comprehensive consciousness can conform to those of the visitors. He sustains that he is the only person on Earth capable of doing that, and therefore absolutely impossible for other terrestrials to have any contact with the cosmonauts from Planet Era. But your case was based on facts, real facts. Is it difficult to go from this facts to what you are telling to us now? How can we connect both?
For the human being in this world, the Earthling, it is difficult to accept the truth because he is a believer, not only on a religious level, but he has also become a believer on a mundane level. Terrestrials no longer believe. They are fed. They eat and swallow what is said to them. Humans believe without reflecting. They do not know the difference between what is true and not true.
Did we learn? After 50 years, was it worth it?
There are people around the world who was learning, who were changing the life, and became a real human being.
Michael Voigtlander, a member of FIGU, a group that Billy Meyer created in the 70s, offered to be our guide during our trip to Switzerland and to take us to some of the places where he took some of his most iconic photographs in Super 8 films. Michael brought with him the original camera Billy used to capture the vast majority of his photographs. He also informed us that Billy would join us later in the day. During our trip to the Swiss mountains, we first proceeded toward the town of Schmidruti, not far from Billy Meyer's home.
This is where the famous X-Files photo was taken by Billy. And the trees are, you can see here, they're gone. And the tree line changed a little here to the left, but on the right it's still very similar. And this is exactly the spot where he took the photo. March the 18th, 1975 in the afternoon.
It would have been very difficult to use a model here.
Absolutely. It is a big object. It's not a small object. So if you wanted to put a big model up there, so it can only be hung by a helicopter, and that, you know, Switzerland, people would notice, you know.
Obviously. Was this photograph taken here?
Yes, this is to the other side. So you can see there the tree line, and this is also when you can look down here. So it's a small valley, and it would only be possible again with a helicopter.
The object is flying very low.
It's next to the tree line, yeah.
I always thought this was a chimney on a roof. Did he take this photograph from here?
That is correct, yes.
You can clearly see the edge of this grill, and the object was over there. In the background, I guess he used it as a mount for the camera.
Yes, he did. It was just this grill, and because he had better support, it's very sharp. There is no handshake, you know. It's very sharp photo.
Based on the footage, Billy was filming with his Super 8 camera.
Yeah, he looked at the camera.
And he sat there, right?
Yes, he was sitting like in the grass.
Then he looks at the camera.
And then he waved her over, but she didn't come closer. So, and then he got up, and then he waved, then you stay away, and, you know.
And he got angry. It's interesting because the object looks very small.
It's very small, yeah, and that's why he waved her closer, you know, he knew. And, but she didn't want to come closer. I think it would have been too convincing, you know. It's important to them that if people don't want to believe, you know, if they're not convinced, that's okay.
We then proceeded to another location near the town of Rumlikon. Was this photograph taken from this same spot?
Yes, it was, exactly. That's the road here. It's a bit hidden by this one tree, and but there's also the power line you can see, and here the forest line are still very similar.
We are quite far from the place where most pictures were taken, near Schmidruti, correct?
About 20 minutes by car, yeah. So he had to drive around a little with his moped.
Was he directed to come here? Did he drive his motorcycle?
Yeah, Semyaza guided him telepathically, and then you have to turn right, you have to turn left, and so until they find a quiet place or...
Was he alone?
Alone, yeah.
These are very interesting photographs. Could you describe them for us?
Yeah, this is taken from inside the beam ship, and you can see one very close by in front of it, and a third one further away. And so he took it through the window, and so there were 3 ships.
They are very sharp. You can clearly distinguish the ships.
Yeah, so this is very close in front of the beam ship he's in, and the third one is further away. And the reason why it's so yellowish, or sometimes it's also a bit orange, that is because the windows take a certain color depending on the atmosphere they're in. So just by the color of the windows, they can tell if they can breathe there, or if they have to take a suit or so, a breathing apparatus, so that they can breathe on that planet. So that's why this coloring is there.
Did he board the ship right here?
Yeah, I'm sure he got on board here, and they flew around in this area.
Are these pictures from the same event?
Yeah, it's all took here, and also this one is, for example, where it's over him, so you can also see under the beam ship, which is very unusual. I mean, UFO photos which are right under it, there are not so many. And here he has a Super 8 camera, and here you can also see again also the reflection of the sun on it.
I remember this particular movie where one of these UFOs disappears in front of the camera.
Yes, that's right. But it's not like some people think. It's like it switches to a different dimension. And I asked him about it, and he said no, it flew away, but extremely fast. So in one frame you can see it, and in the next frame it's already out.
This is an important location because it is the only film in which moving cars are shown in the background, and it is possible to see the floating ship exactly at the same time.
Yes, it is. Yeah, he took it from here, and the cars you can see in the film in the background driving. Yeah, but they couldn't see the beam ship. Just Billy. Yeah, they have the ability to kind of camouflage, and but partially be visible. So they made it. They opened like a small opening for him that he could film it, but everybody else around it could not see it.
Does that mean that a ship could be here and we would not be able to see it?
Right, that would be possible. Yeah.
We then moved to the next location, near Bachtel Hernley.
Billy photographed this here, and this is a Semyasis beam ship, and these are like telemeter discs. This is what we would call a drone, and they were hovering here. I can show you also here, and he took photos and also filmed it on Super 8 film.
How come there are 3 ships in the image? Why 3? Was it a demonstration? Were they trying something new?
I'm not sure. They often have telemeter discs which we don't see, you know, which are invisible. And I think it was just for the demonstration to see that it's not just one, but also more. And since they're all moving in the film independently, you can tell you would have to have 3 models at the same time. So that's very complicated and difficult to do. So I think that's why they did a demonstration with 3, yeah. Or often photograph branches in the foreground so that you can calculate the size of it.
And the distance?
Yeah, and the distance, right. And here more, again here, this in the foreground.
Is that Billy's tripod?
Yeah, that was an old tripod he had.
Is this the same valley?
This valley, exactly, yeah, that direction. So, and for example, this is an enlargement, but you can see this is quite characteristic, and you can see it over there. That's the place, you know, and this is the ridge here.
The image seems to show a different kind of ship, correct?
Yeah, it's a different one, that's right.
Did they change models?
They change models too. They have also, like, we do research and development and technology. It's the same with them. So they are trying to improve their technology also all the time, yeah. Almost 1,500 photos, and we only have 200 to 300 photos left. So
what happened to the rest?
Well, the best photos didn't even come back. So these are basically the worst photos, you know. The best photos did come back, and yeah, and then also stolen. You know, at some point he didn't have any.
It means that they are somewhere around. Somebody has them.
Exactly. So it's very well possible that in the future older photos come and reappear.
We then headed to Barrettspill in the upper part of the Zurich region, where Billy Meyer was already waiting for us. Barrettspill is where Billy captured one of his most controversial photographs. The iconic image captured an alleged spaceship suspended in the air, while a Swiss military airplane circled the disk on several occasions. Billy, please remind us why you came here.
I remember it was a day with great weather, and Semjay's arrived here for a photographic session. But suddenly, a military plane appeared in the air. We were surprised when the plane showed up all of a sudden. We had no idea about this.
And this airplane was flying around the object?
Here, around us. The plane appeared minutes after our arrival. When she was here, I don't know why. And he turned around for around 5 or 6 minutes. Semjay's moved the ship to a different area, then to another and another.
This has become a very important picture. And it is here, on the cover of your book.
Yeah.
Your experience is incredible. And for those people that don't believe, this picture is proof that your experience is truthful.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand. But what can you do if people don't want to accept it? They prefer to believe in a fictitious almighty in the sky. They do not accept what is real.
When the image was analyzed in the US, it was determined that the plane was real and not a scale model. The jet emitted heat signals and expelled fumes, but on the other hand, the disk remained cold and expelled no fumes or heat. According to Meyer, the vehicles of the alleged alien visitors obtain their energy directly from the electrons around them through an antenna placed on top of the ships. That is why they do not need to burn fuel, enjoying an energy source, practically unlimited. This is your camera.
Yeah, that's the camera, yes.
With this simple camera, you took these incredible pictures?
Yes, of course. Yes, I went everywhere around to make photos.
You didn't have a special lens of any kind?
No. Only this one, no more. I got it from my brother.
This is the Super 8 film camera used to shoot the alleged ships from the Plejarians in the 70s. It is also a very simple camera. How many rolls did you shoot?
I'm not sure how many rolls I shot. Most disappeared. Years later, I found out that one of them was sold for 1,000 francs by my ex-wife. I can't remember. It's been so long. I don't know. I don't remember. There are many videos from film transfers, but they are all copies. There are no originals. My ex-wife sold them all. A friend of mine managed to track an original, but she decided to cut it off instead. It was unusable.
Very unfortunate. Why humanity does things like that? These are treasures.
Yes, but what can you do? They are earthlings, idiots.
We then traveled to Lake Pfeffiker, the location where Meyer captured on film a demonstration by the alleged cosmonaut Semjas as she flew her craft around a tree.
Semjes told me that when the ship circled the tree, the frequencies of the ship damaged the tree and made it dry up. That is the reason that it was cut off sometime later. Afterwards, she erased the memory of everyone that lived near the tree.
How did she do that?
I have no idea, but she did it.
Why did Semjas circle the tree? Why was she doing that?
She wanted to demonstrate how the ship functioned, being able to circle, showing how close they're able to fly to an object.
This film is very important because you can see the object going around the tree and sometimes goes close, and the tree bends. In the picture, you can see the tree's reflection on the craft.
Yes, it moved when the ship got close to it. She wanted to demonstrate how the ship functioned.
The tree is not here anymore, but the lake is still there. We can tell this is the place where you filmed the ship, with the lake as the background.
Yes, Lake Pfeffikon and the village next to it in the background is called Pfeffikon.
Author Christian Freiner proved that there was indeed a large tree in the place where the photographs were taken. Taking advantage of a Swiss topographic database, he reviewed the aerial images of 1972 and discovered a large tree existed at the site. Billy Meyer told us that the frequencies emanating from the ships are considered extremely dangerous to all living beings on Earth.
Yes, it is dangerous for people, for animals, for birds, for everything.
Is it dangerous to be close to them? Was it dangerous for you to be close to them? And they know that?
They know it.
Then it is not safe to get close to it.
When they're flying, it is impossible. If they're on the ground, then they stop all the protection around them.
You never got sick at all?
Not at all. Every time I got near to board the ships, they disconnected the energy and frequencies and created some protective shield. That's why I never got sick. Inside the ships, you're 100% safe. On one occasion, 3 people came too close to the ship, and they got confused. 3 people near my home got confused because the ship was flying very low. They hid behind some timber. They had been following me. They hid before the ship landed. It was Semjase. No, it was Manara at the helm. And those 3 people were hiding nearby, and they saw Manara and me boarding the ship. They saw the ship taking off, and we flew over them very close at about 20 feet, because we did not notice they were following me and hiding. These 3 people were affected by the ship frequencies, and for the rest of their lives, their brains did not work properly ever again.
How many times did you go inside the crafts?
I don't know, several times.
And you haven't been back?
Semjase is no longer here. She lives in a sister universe. I remember that on one occasion, I accompanied her to a sister universe and was gone for a few hours, but returned with long hair and a beard, as if I had been gone for weeks.
Yes, it was the truth. I was sitting with a few other people in the town of Jinbil when Billy came in, freshly shaved and well-groomed, and waited with us until Semjase gave him a signal to go for a contact. Then Billy left, and we were waiting inside for him to come back, and the wait turned out to be about 3 hours. Then he came back, but with a 5-day beard, and told us that he had been to the Dal universe with Semjase. Billy told us how he was able to travel to another universe in a short time, but for him, it was 5 days. This was a strange thing for us, but we knew it was the truth.
Billy took us to the last location, a plot of land near the Betsikon Hospital on the outskirts of Zurich. In this location, Meyer took several pictures with buildings still standing, and others where the tree line has been replaced with houses.
Everything was undeveloped in this area, and on that side, there was a large tree line. Over there is a large building, a hospital, which still remains. All of these photographs were taken here. A tree line and a road, all of them gone. Everything is different now, with new homes.
Was this Semjase's ship?
Yes, it was Semjase, to film and take photographs.
Why were you taking so many photos? What was the purpose of that?
It was an order from Semjase. Yeah.
She wanted that? She wanted you to take these pictures to show to humanity?
Yeah. Many witnesses have seen the crafts. People from our group, from Figu, they all have seen the ships. Foreigners as well, Canadians, Americans and others, like Heidi Peters, who died not long ago. An old lady near my home saw 3 ships near Schmidruti, but she did not want to share it with anyone. Jacob was with me at 2 in the morning and witnessed when a ship took off, and created an energy discharge. We all saw it and photographed it. It was 500 feet long. Around 120 people have seen the ships.
Why are they hiding now?
Because there were problems. People starting to behave irrationally. And the Plejarens decided to avoid making themselves present.
But they wanted you to take the pictures. Why did they do it?
To let people know about the mission. The Plejaren are not interested in letting themselves be known.
But the case is important.
Yes, but the Plejaren or the ships are not important. It is all about the mission.
Since 1975, Billy Meyer has written several books about the teachings he has received from an alleged alien civilization. Many of his writings have been constructed as prophecies to some because of their similarities to recent events and interpreted by others as warnings and fundamental to human survival. The information shared in the writings of the alleged Swiss contactee in 1975 includes the opening of a hole in the ozone layer over Antarctica and Australia, letting in deadly ultraviolet rays. The warning was verified the following year when scientists from the British Antarctic Survey confirmed the existence of an opening in the ozone layer and published it in the journal Nature. Even though many skeptics blamed it a mere coincidence, others paid more attention to the many warnings Meyer published in the following years. You said that one of the main reasons of their mission was to alert us about the destruction of the ozone layer.
Human beings are having a profound impact on environmental pollution. Just observe the traffic and the machinery that releases CO2 from gasoline and diesel fuels. Furthermore, the use of wood and carbon for heating contributes to the degradation of our atmosphere worldwide. It's an urgent issue that requires our attention.
In 1995, Billy Meyer warned about a virus that would spread among humans due to China's research of biological weapons. He mentioned it as a lung disease and wrote that the pathogens would be released in the population due to China's carelessness. 20 years later, the appearance of a new respiratory disease in the Chinese city of Wuhan was announced, which spread throughout the world, causing the most serious pandemic in recent times. Since the beginning of 2020, the Swiss contactee has released a dozen writings with precise details about this virus and warned that asymptomatic infected people would be the main spreaders of the disease. Meyer was ahead of the World Health Organization in describing various characteristics of the new virus and assuring the world that if China would have taken preventive measures, such as the closure of airports and borders, as well as strict quarantine in affected areas, the coronavirus could have been controlled in 3 months. The disease claimed the lives of 1 million people and devastated global economies.
Now is the moment for individuals to take responsibility for their own thoughts and actions, making the right choices that lead to positive outcomes. This principle has been vital since ancient times, a truth that has stood the test of human existence.
What about global warming? What is happening with the world?
What the future will bring, I am not allowed to say. I'm sorry.
But is bad?
It's bad. Very bad.
In the time of Sfarth, when I was just a little boy, I was told that one should not talk about what the future will bring, for one would do exactly the opposite of what is to be avoided. That is, the more one will do that, which produces harm and calamities. It is like a small child who is told, "Do not take the knife," and the child takes the knife and cuts himself on the finger. It's wrong, very wrong. I can say at least this, but no more.
Are humans going to learn, or is it going to be too late?
I believe that for humanity to truly understand its place in the world, we must heed the lessons of nature and strive to become truly human. But this requires that the population be reduced to below 1 billion. Otherwise, there will be no benefit. The more humanity grows, the worse it will be. Less than 1 billion. Only 500 million worldwide, no more. The Earth has not been made to feed more than 500 million, so everyone can live as nature has intended.
Why? What is the reason?
Such as it is, the size of our planet is projected for only 500 to 530 million people, apart from animals that also exist in the millions. The countless species of animals can live naturally only if the number of people is 500 to 530 million. At present, humanity is 19 times above the sustainable measure of 500 to 530 million people. This overpopulation is leading to the destruction of our world, the exploitation of Earth's resources, and the loss of our natural environment. While religions often advocate for population growth, it's important to remember that everything, including our population, is ultimately governed by the laws of chemistry.
Among the transcriptions Meyer divulged in 1980, he warned that the Vesuvius volcano would erupt and that the lava would flow below Rome, 500 miles away, with an immense lake of magma existing below the volcano. In 2001, the information was verified as Italian and French scientists reported the findings on Science, a well-known publication. They confirmed the existence of a large sea of magma below the Vesuvius and the discovery of several geysers in the surroundings of Rome, proving that lava flows under the city. Meyer assures that mining, oil and gas extraction, as well as dam construction, cause earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. He also warned that astronauts should wear special suits, since prolonged exposure to low gravity damages bones and the brain. In 2020, and for the first time in history, the U.S. Weather Service issued an alert for the appearance of a fire tornado in Northern California, which could reach heights close to a mile, leaving only debris and ash. According to Meyer, and mentioned in his book in 1981, he anticipated that revolving walls of fire would hit California, Oregon, and Washington, creating fire tornadoes, an extremely rare and destructive natural phenomenon. How important are these messages from them?
The message is as important for human beings as it is for animals and plants. The Plejarians are interested in the human being, taking an active role in his own development, in thinking for himself, and in experiencing knowledge from within. This is how a human being becomes truly effective. The governments want to do what they want to do, and they want to impose themselves, and that's how they attract even more calamities. You can tell them anything, they always do the opposite. They are few. It is an absolute minority that listens when it is said that this or that will happen if this or that is done. The minority is tiny in relation to the great mass. There are only a few who do it for themselves, and they take it seriously and reflect for themselves on what they are told about what the future may bring. Each of us has the power to make a difference, starting with our own understanding and actions.
In his writings, Meyer has raised the possibility of a civil war in the United States, particularly in light of the rise of a controversial and polarizing figure to the presidency. Meyer's warning highlights the growing tension in American society, with confrontations involving firearms becoming more frequent. This trend could lead to a civil war and the potential division of the country into 5 territories.
They only have one thing in their head: war. War against the next one. War against the next state.
Did we miss an opportunity?
People often learn nothing because they cling to their beliefs. Many adherents are more interested in faith than in truth. They prefer conflict over understanding. Their focus is on fighting, one faction against another, and then yet another. They have little desire for the truth. They simply wish to engage in battle amongst themselves.
How do you feel about that?
Bad.
Frustrated?
There are conflicts among individuals, and nations are at war with one another.
Russia and Ukraine?
Yeah.
Many people think that they would stop a nuclear war. They would?
Only an idea.
They wouldn't?
It's not the real thinking of a human being.
This is not a rational way for a human being to think. It's an attitude of fear. There's hope that a nuclear war won't happen, but there's no certainty that it won't. It's not a firm belief that this won't happen, but a fragile hope. And hope can be shattered in an instant.
Will it happen?
We will see what's going on.
Are we close?
Yeah.
Will it be the end?
It will continue, but then everything will be contaminated. Unfortunately, this has happened in the past and may repeat itself, albeit in a different form than what was experienced thousands of years ago. Signs of this can still be observed today. Radiation still exists. For example, in the valley of the Indus River, you can still find human bones that are radioactive. This dates back about 6,000 years, and today the radioactivity remains, a haunting reminder of the enduring impact of nuclear disasters.
Another of the future dangers that the aliens warned Meyer about is the arrival of the asteroid Apophis, which will approach Earth on April 13th, 2029, to return in the exact same date, also on April 13th, but in the year 2036. According to Billy, the asteroid will impact Eastern Europe with absolute certainty unless we deflect it, opening up the Earth's crust between the North Sea and the Black Sea.
Apophis is an asteroid about 1,000 feet across, and that's a nation buster. Every 10 million years, there's a planet buster, like what hit Mexico 65 million years ago. The latest projection of Apophis shows that it will probably miss the first time around, about 2029. However, on the second pass, that's when all bets are off. Let's say right now, some amateur astronomer sees an object bigger than an apartment building headed to the planet Earth. What can we do? The answer is nothing. Absolutely nothing. We have no space shuttle. We have no rockets that can easily reach deep space. We don't know the physics. Is the rocket going to blow up the asteroid? We have a lot of small asteroids. We don't know about the physics of these things. So we are children. We're children when it comes to threats from outer space.
Society will survive. The world will survive. Will society survive from the big crises that are coming?
Yes, but it may take a long time, possibly centuries, or even millennia.
While the writings of Meyer over decades could seem to many as a bleak future for humanity, he has always remained optimistic. He is sure that despite catastrophes and all kinds of difficulties, human beings will prosper and in the future will increase their knowledge to such an extent that they will be able to travel through time and space, clean rivers and seas, and live in peace and harmony on Earth, living a life that today seems a mere utopia. But for that to be possible, Meyer sustains that we must learn to respect life, strive to grow in our consciousness, and begin to treat our fellow human beings as what they are, our brothers and sisters.